It's a really great pleasure and honor indeed for me to be here this afternoon on the occasion of CSI Cardiac Prevent. As the president of CSI, I am Dr. H.K. Chopra. I feel highly privileged to have with me the world authorities in cardiology. To my right is Dr. Srinathas Reddy. Known all over the world, he has been the president of World Heart Federation, and he's also the president of Public Health Foundation, who had tremendous contribution in the field of cardiology in making a global strategies how to prevent the CVD. To my left is Dr. Jagat Narula. We feel very privileged and proud as an Indian that Jagat Narula has risen to very big heights. He is the trustee of American College of Cardiology, a pioneer and a legend in imaging. I am very privileged. I think I'll interact with Dr. Reddy. Dr. Reddy, we just heard your lecture. In the power of your lecture, I have no words to express. It was so beautiful, very informative, and I'm sure we are moving in a very right direction. I'd like to ask your input as to what is the future dimension by which we can control the CAD. I agree the way you mentioned, tobacco control will really halt the rising menace of coronary artery disease to a very large extent. What else we should do in CSI or in the Indian government? We need to have your solution on this. Dr. Reddy.
I believe there are important pathways by which we can reduce premature mortality due to cardiovascular disease in India. Tobacco, high blood pressure, diabetes are among the three major risk factors that we should be addressing in our country, particularly from what we know as the major contributors to premature mortality in the Indian population. At the same time, people who are already at a high risk of getting a major cardiovascular event in the next 10 years, either because of a combination of multiple risk factors which they have already acquired, or because they have already suffered an event and are candidates for recurrence of another event, should be protected with adequate coverage of life-saving, evidence-based drug therapies. We now have tools at our hand by which we can effectively reduce the risk of people, even in people at high risk, by using at least 4 simple drugs. And these are not expensive in the Indian context where generic drugs are also available. However, not many of these candidates at high risk are currently receiving the treatment they should be getting. So improving our health system performance in terms of access and affordability, but more importantly in terms of right prescription practices and improved adherence to these therapies are important. While definitely pushing the policy pedal on tobacco control by a wide variety of tobacco control measures, whether it is increased taxes, whether it is making public spaces and workplaces smoke-free, or having better and more effective pictorial warnings, those are all important measures. Similarly, acting in the area of trying to reduce the trans fat content and the sugar content of processed foods, these are again important policy measures. Encouraging physical activity among Indians who are particularly prone to insulin resistance because of low physical activity, that's also important. However, in the next 15 years, the health systems will have to really prioritize, apart from all of these, the protection of people at high risk by appropriate strategies for early detection and effective risk reduction.
I think, Dr. Reddy, you brought a very important point that we need to change the mindset of people to have an acceptance of an appropriate prescription. And you also mentioned very categorically and emphatically that we have to make sure that there is proper adherence or compliance.
Yes.
The issue is, at times, the mindset of patient is such that the compliance is not adequate. And the second thing which we see here, that even the prescription is quite variable.
Yes.
You see, from a physician level to a super specialist physician level, then to a cardiologist level, there is a lot of variability. How we can address this issue in masses so that our doctor colleague, our primary physician colleague, as well as the public at large get educated?
I think one of the important measures is to prepare standard management guidelines. The science is very clear about what needs to be given to what kind of patient. But we need to codify that into simplified, what we can call clinical protocols in terms of standard management guidelines. Those would have to be disseminated widely, but now there is an opportunity, particularly with central and state funded health insurance schemes, the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, as well as many others, and the whole idea of universal health coverage coming in, to have these as a part of an essential health package which will fit into this overall insurance program of RSBY or any other universal health coverage program. So once that becomes mandatory, then people will understand how these protocols will have to be applied. But also physician education is important, and we ought to do it, particularly of physicians in primary care, because we should not have patients receiving the best advice in advanced care institutions and getting lost in the maze of primary care where all kinds of wrong practices are then followed. But education of patients is also important, along with education of families, because a well-informed patient can be not only a wonderful ally in the whole healthcare, actually there's a partnership process that's built in. And there, I think informing the patients properly, even helping using digital technology for education, for monitoring, for prescription revision, all of these can actually transform India. You don't have to be entirely physician available dependent, but you can actually use technology to bridge some of these gaps. But improving patient education is also absolutely a critical component.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reddy. I think the point is very well taken. Dr. Reddy has given a very, very important point. He said that we have to transform the relationship between the doctors and the patient. And the education is very important. And he gave a solution. The solution is we have to go in a digital way. We have to go education by print media, electronic media, more communication and protocolization is the need of the hour. I'm sure things will definitely change. With the new module and the new technology, we'll be able to reach masses in a very short span of time, and we will definitely improve in the years to come. Dr. Reddy, I think your inputs were enormous, valuable, and I'm sure it has to be implemented, executed with the help of government and non-governmental organizations. Definitely, we will work very hard with Public Health Foundation and CSI as a joint venture to combat this menace of rising coronary artery disease in India.
Thank you, sir.
I have with me Dr. Jagat Narula. We are very privileged that he is from India and has created a huge impact in the globe and representing American College of Cardiology as a trustee. He is a man who has got a lot of contribution in the imaging as a pioneer. I would like to ask Dr. Jagat Narula, do you think that imaging has a huge potential if the screening is done so that we can see the occult CAD or occult hidden coronary artery disease in the patients who are suffering from obesity? Because just now Dr. Reddy spoke that hypertension is a real menace. If we control hypertension and control obesity, we control the CVD. We need a tool. Clinical is fine, there's no doubt about it, but sometimes hidden manifestation takes time, whether it's a renal problem or a cardiac problem. What is the potential of imaging as a screening technique, screening tool from your viewpoint, Dr. Jagat Narula?
It's a very good question, Dr. Chopra. Imaging essentially is going to be at the forefront. There is no doubt about it. The examination would be done with the imaging tools. For example, you will have the handheld ultrasound with you. You'll be able to look at the carotids. You'll be able to look at the heart. You'll be able to look at anything else. So imaging will be our stethoscope now. I think the days of stethoscope are numbered, or it's probably gone. And imaging you would do very well. When it comes to looking at the high-risk groups, or it comes to looking at the people who are likely to develop because of the risk factors, certainly the screening for the screening purposes, imaging does make sense. You can have, again, the carotid ultrasound or coronary calcium scores, which probably would have to come down in their price so that we can use it more commonly in the high-risk population. However, when you look at it philosophically, I don't think that we have to depend upon imaging. I think we have got to go after the risk factors. I think it has got to be an approach which has to be a universal approach. Dr. Reddy, whatever he was telling us is all very practical, it is all policy, and it is always going to be much more cost effective when we will be looking at the secondary prevention, where the people have already suffered from the disease, or we know that they have the disease. But I think in parallel, what we would need, and as I said, I'm going more philosophically here, that we would like to have a parallel track where we need to reach out to the public. The education has to be to the public, not to the patient alone. The education has to be from us, and that is something where we do not need the imaging or any other tool for the screening. We have got to go after the risk factors. We have to identify the risk factors. We have to let people know that they have to even prevent the risk factors from happening, the so-called primordial and other types of risk factors. And the risk factor training or health education has to start at the level of the children. The most important thing that we really need to do is that we reach out to children, we develop the programs where, and I know Dr. Reddy had done lots of programs going on for last about 20 years or so, like Hriday and others, where we have talked about these things, because by the time we become adult, I think it becomes very difficult to change our practices. So most important thing, in my opinion, would be going after the risk factors. And if we take the communicable disease examples, which have been the true success stories, for example, polio. It was all, we are not looking at the people who are genetically susceptible, or not looking at the strains or other things. We went with the universal vaccinations. Similarly, we have got to go with the universal programs here, that the risk factor reduction is the most important thing. And essentially, we have got to get away from these issues that there is genetics involved in there, or there is age involved in there, or anything else. So focus has to be risk factor, and risk factors.
I think Jagat Narula is very, very forceful in saying imaging has a very limited role. No doubt, it is a very powerful tool in the emergencies, but it's not a screening tool of that way importance. He says control the risk factors. Risk factors should not happen. And I think the message very rightly given by Dr. Jagat Narula is we have to create a lot of heart protection corridors right from the childhood. And he's quoted the data by Hriday. I think it was a very powerful data and a very powerful organization who started school healthy heart initiatives for the first time in India, for which we feel very proud. And I think a time has come we have to focus that the risk factors should not be born, and number two, what we call the primordial prevention, or a primary prevention, or a secondary prevention. And now, since the disease is so overt, we have to focus on secondary prevention to control the risk factors. And he said repeatedly 3 times, control the risk factor, and risk factor. I think it's a very important message, Dr. Narula. I just had to ask you, since you are in such an important position now in the United States, and you say a universal policy. So I'd like to ask you, as the American College of Cardiology, in what way you are going to have an alliance with the Public Health Foundation or CSI to create an impact of the universal policy to control the risk factors?
Although in the way I was trying to say the universal was that our approach has to be universal in the sense that we go after the risk factors in everybody, in all the people, not essentially the patients. But as far as the role of the American College of Cardiology and the collaboration with the Cardiology Society of India is concerned, I think there are mammoth possibilities, there are immense possibilities here, and I do know that you are working very closely with the American College of Cardiology, trying to start the educational focus here, and again, more importantly, with the World Heart Federation also, that we are trying to go to the primary care level, not only the cardiologists, so that the education could be dispensed and we could promote the awareness about the risk factors in the country for the prevention of non-communicable diseases. And the most important thing that here we have to look for also is that these risk factors, which we commonly talk about cardiology, they basically may be the risk factors for almost everything. The same behavioral and dietary problems are the basis of most of the non-communicable diseases, be it cancers, be it cardiovascular diseases, be it degenerative brain diseases, Alzheimer's disease, respiratory diseases, and all other things. So essentially, it is our dietary and the behavioral problem which we need to attack so as to have the healthy living for the entire nation.
I think the point is very well taken, Jagat. I think you are very, very emphatic in saying it's not only behavioral pattern, but also the dietary pattern and the metabolic factors, which are very, very important. And Dr. Reddy already pointed out this morning that if we control one risk factors, we will see the influence on many other risk factors. And he used the word, I heard him very carefully, pre-Alzheimer's or Alzheimer's can be taken care of. So I think the risk factor control is the need of the hour if we really want to create a well-being. Dr. Reddy was very, very categoric this morning. He said we need to have a paradigm shift from illness to wellness. Well-being, he used the word well-being. Dr. Reddy, we'd like to ask your final word. What exactly you mean by well-being?
Well-being, of course, implies that one has to enjoy good health. So that's a prime requisite. But for that health not only to be manifest in terms of freedom from disease, but the ability to draw upon physical, emotional, and spiritual resources to find fulfillment in any activity that one undertakes without impediment either from personal factors or from societal factors, that would be the state of well-being. And well-being is not purely an individual attribute. One has to be a part and parcel of a healthy and happy society. And that actually will ultimately provide the well-being that is required. We cannot be feeling well if somebody else in our family is dropping dead from a heart attack. So not only personal health, but everybody else's health matters a lot.
It's fantastic. I think it's a very, very nice opinion. He said it's not individual well-being. The well-being of society is the well-being of an individual. The well-being of a globe is the well-being of an individual. And the same way, well-being of an individual is the well-being of the globe. In other words, one individual is the hologram of the whole universe, and the whole universe is the hologram of one individual. Very beautifully said, Dr. Reddy. I think it was a very nice expression. I really want to compliment both the legends of cardiology, Dr. Reddy and Dr. Jagat Narula, and this is going to go in a big way, and I'm sure the individuals from the rightdoctors.com disseminate this information all over the world, how we can control the rising menace of CVD. Thank you very much, Dr. Reddy, and thank you very much, Dr. Jagat.
Thank you.
Thank you.